Hispanic students are vice versa. They speak very well, but they have no idea what they're doing.
I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know why the chat's not coming out. Maybe nobody has commented yet, but I don't know why my chat's not working. Or maybe nobody's commented. I guess I have to check my other phone right now. Damn. I'm gonna post up inside today because it's gonna be a hot day today and I need some shade. Yeah, so this spot's not gonna work. There's clearly nothing but sun right there in that spot. Yeah, I'm gonna go inside. Yeah, let me double check if the chat's working on my other phone. Oh, what's up, one man? Base truther, boom me. WTF? Oh man, I'm gonna have to fix the. Oh, what's up, one man? Base truther. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably redo the stream to see if the the chat starts to come out on my end. I mean, I could probably fix it. Let me just see if I could do that real quick. Oh man, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Fuck me. Remote control. Ah, no way. Fuck. Let me see real quick again. Yeah, it's not even giving me a chance. Oh man, no way. Alright. I might have to restart the stream. Dang it. Don't know why the chat's not working on this main phone, but we'll see right now. Yeah, I'm gonna set up first, and then I'll figure that out. Yeah, it's kind of weird not having a chat in the screen. Damn. Can't believe I'm already winded. Oof, I'm definitely out of shape. Yeah. I mean, it looks a little emptier than usual. Obviously, because it's summer classes. So there's less students enrolled for these classes. But usually, have you guys seen in other videos, this area is usually pretty packed. But yeah, we'll see where I could post up. Yeah, I definitely cannot post up on the sun because it is hot. Well, the height today is supposed to be 104 here where I live. So yeah, that's pretty hot. So you can only imagine inside a car, if you don't have AC, it's easily around 110. Okay, looks like my spot does have shade over there, but fuck. Not a lot of shade though. Damn. I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm gonna walk around a bit just to see if I find a better spot real quick. I mean, to be honest, that spot might have to be it. Yeah, I don't think... I mean, underneath that other tree right there, over there. Huh. Okay, can't waste any time. I'll go to my old spot. Looks like there's enough shade there. I think I'll be okay. Right next to this tree. Tree of life, tree of shade. Oh my god. we'll see. I'm gonna figure out this chat situation. Basically set up almost. It's gonna set up the other camera, but show chat view. There we go. Oh my god, it was in the bottom right here, a little setting. All right, I usually like to have the chat so that it's part of the video, but I guess not for not this time. I don't want to restart the stream, so let's see if there's oh, to be honest, I like the chat on the screen because, you know, obviously when I'm talking to the camera, I like to just look at the screen to be able to respond opposed to looking at my phone. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really make a difference, I guess, but it's fine. Yeah, all right, cool. So let me just set up the other camera. Oh my god. It's actually pretty, I mean, fresh compared to the, you know, being in the sun under this tree. It actually feels good, the little breeze. lot of little steps to do here. Oh man. Will I am that I am. All right. Yeah, another reason why I need to be in the shade is so that my phone doesn't overheat, obviously, too. But yeah, a little bit today. Let me just show the setup real quick. Let me just take a picture of my other phone, just in case. I know, hopefully I do, BG. Hopefully. I mean, even one conversation is better than nothing, so. What time is it right now? It's 10:35, so hopefully around 11, you know, when students are out of class. We might get more foot traffic, but right now it's a little dead. So I am gonna be trying a different not a different approach, but just switching it up a bit. I know in the last video that I did, you know, oh, by the way, you know, yeah, I had to take a little break just from, you know, daily routine, well, basically work and stuff like that, because Natalie just, you know, well, earlier this month had her second baby, so I had to take some time off, which is, you know, the main reason why I haven't been uploading. But hopefully I could get back into rhythm. But yeah. So yeah, so you know how people, in my opinion, with the 3 questions, when I start with the trick question, I feel like when people come up to the table, the people that do come up to the table, they have a little bit of confidence, you know, because I mean, who doesn't, you know, who's just gonna come up to the table if you're not confident, right? At least a little bit, right? So in my opinion, the people, it's not even half the people, it's less than half, but it's a good chunk. Some people, when I ask the trick question, when they come up to the table, and then I start with the trick question, I notice that little bit of confidence that they had goes out the window. You know, the little bit of self-confidence that they had, you know, self-trust or whatever you want to call it, goes out the window, you know, from what I've experienced after the trick question. Meaning, once I bring the second question, because I told them about the trick question or not to believe people, you know, not you know, point being, I feel like people overthink the second one because of the trick question being the first, you know, the first one. So I feel like the second one, people overcomplicate it, you know, because it's very simple, you know. And most people do get it. More than half of the people do get it, even after the trick question. You know, they still trust their common sense. But a lot of people doubt their own common sense. They don't believe me anymore. They don't even believe the question. They don't even trust the question anymore. You know, so they're not even thinking about it rationally anymore. They're trying to think of a way out to not be tricked again, right? It's a little bit ironic because of the subject, right? But that's what I've noticed. So what I'm gonna try and do now, I'm gonna skip the trick question. So I'm just gonna go straight into the orientation. You know, I'm gonna reword it a little bit and see what kind of results I get like that. You know, if I can see people's confidence, you know, and answering it faster too. I'll be able to see if, because people do really think about it. They look at them, you know, they take their time. They even try to argue it. They try to say they're both right side up or they're both upside down or none, you know, which doesn't make any sense because obviously the water's in different orientations, telling you that the picture's in a different orientation, you know. So I'm just gonna go straight into the second question. Just basically gonna ask 2 questions. You know, I want to test it out just to see what kind of responses I get, to see if people are more confident, feel more comfortable, you know, answering correctly, you know. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. Hopefully, you know, I get better responses, you know. But let me see. Got some comments. What's up, Ricardo? Oh, thanks, Base Truther. Thanks, One Man. Thanks, Beyond Belief. Yeah, it's the second. We already had a baby girl, and this is a baby boy now. So yeah. Yeah, so I actually I kind of got like a little presentation together in regards to glober logic, or you know, some of the hoops that globe earthers like to go through to defend their beliefs, right? And I kind of want to highlight some points and basically how most flat earthers have globe earth mentality nowadays, and I'm going to highlight that you know, right now. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to witness, and you know, what's happening, you know. To be honest, I'm not that surprised, because a lot of, you know, when I came into this, you know, a few years in, you know, I started to see that a lot of people are just followers, you know what I'm saying? They don't think for themselves. A lot of flat earthers will still say, I believe the earth is flat. And in my head, it's like, what do you mean you believe? You mean you're just jumping on the bandwagon? You don't even understand or comprehend how the earth is a level plane? You have to say you believe. I believe it. And then you ask them, well, why do you believe it? And then they start bringing up flight paths. Oh, I believe the earth is flat because this flight from da-da-da-da-da wouldn't work on the globe. So, and again, a flight, you know, that has nothing to do with physically measuring the dimensions or the curvature of the earth. But again, a lot of flat earthers, you know, are just kind of jumping on the bandwagon. I guess, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, a lot of, they're still not thinking for themselves. A lot of followers still, you know, real thinkers, I think, is still a minority within the minority. You know, real truthers are a minority within the minority. So just something for people to, you know, pay attention and be aware of. What's up, JT, the game? Yeah, so, okay, so I want to get started with this. So I'm going to go over three claims, you know, 3 claims, you know, that people are making, and how physics and science basically debunks those claims, right? We don't even have to prove the alternative claim because it's not necessary. These claims debunk themselves, right? So, for example, we'll start off with this one. So the first claim, the curvature of the earth, right? The first claim that the earth is a ball. So there needs to be curvature of the earth. So the curve of the earth, and this is how we know that the earth is not a ball, or the oceans are not bending, right? Because the physics of water proves that the surface of the earth is a level plane. How? When water is contained, the surface will always form a horizontal level plane regardless of the scale. That's a fact. That's a fact. Regardless of the scale, we could have, you know, a small scale like this, you know, a bigger scale like that. You have pool. You could have a lake, you know, and even an ocean. The surface of water is always level. You know, that's a fact. That's physics. That's science. That's natural science. That's substance. We don't have to exit the earth, you know, to be able to know that. We don't have to go high enough like globers like to say, you know, try to use to deny, oh, but you just gotta go high enough. You gotta see the earth as a whole to be able to see if it's flat or round. We don't need to do that. We understand the physics of water, and it's always gonna form a horizontal plane. Based on that fact, the earth cannot physically be a ball. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that the earth is a level plane. And if you think it's another shape, the surface of it at least, then it's up to you to prove that, you know. But you know, we all understand this, you know, the physics of water. So that's the first claim, right? And obviously, water is the #1 proof to debunk the curve of the earth. You know, physics, science, testable, repeatable, measurable. The second claim. Let's go to the second claim. Here we go. The spin of the earth, right? So the spin of the earth. So allegedly we're spinning at over 1,000 miles an hour, right? But physics, the physics of motion and centrifugal effects proves that we're not standing on a rotating earth. Why? Because, so here it is. The physics of motion and centrifugal effects proves that we're not spinning. How? All physical experiments to measure the earth's spin fail because centrifugal effects from the earth don't exist. You know, this is an example of centrifugal effects. For example, if you're in a rotating platform, here we go, you're eventually gonna get flung down. I think this is funny how he bangs his head on the water. It's like, he probably got knocked out when he got flung out. But point being is, when something's spinning, things don't stick to it. They do the opposite. They, you know, things get shot away from it, you know, 360 degrees. Everything wants to get pushed away from the center point of the spin. So we don't feel that on Earth, you know. You know, another thing is, you know, we understand that water doesn't stick to a ball, yet alone when it's spinning. Again, the centrifugal effect shows that water splashes, you know, in every direction of the spin and doesn't stick to it. It does the opposite of sticking to it. So based on the physics of centrifugal effects and objects spinning or rotating, we understand that the Earth, you know, is not spinning because there's no effects of centrifugal forces or effects on Earth that can be measured by any experiment, you know. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that that we're not spinning, and it's the sky that spins, because that's what they like to use as reference, that we're spinning, that the sky appears to spin, but it's not the sky, it's us, you know. So again, we don't have to exit the Earth or see the Earth as a whole to prove that it's not spinning, you know. Physics here on Earth tells us that, you know, because we understand centrifugal effects and what will happen if we're on a rotating platform, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's how we know that the Earth is not spinning. We deduct, you know, and we come to that conclusion based on the understanding of physics, right? So now we get to this third one that I want to go over, and this is a flat Earth claim, a flat Earthers claim, you know, the motionless Earth. So here's the thing. So again, we go to physics and the laws of motion and acceleration, right? So the physics of motion and acceleration proves that objects don't accelerate down towards the Earth. How? Because all effects of motion and acceleration disappear in free fall. Pressure disappears, weight disappears, orientation disappears, and density and buoyancy effects of objects falling and rising through a medium within a container disappears. So everything just freezes in free fall. Nothing rises or sinks in water, for example, if it's in free fall. You know, we don't have to exit again. And it's another reason why, you know, the title of the video is what it is. Because a lot of people would say, oh, but what's outside of the Earth? I mean, we have to go outside of the Earth to be able to prove that the Earth is rising up. And it's like, no. Just like with the water level and the spin of the Earth, we don't have to exit the Earth and see it as a whole to understand basic physics that tells us that it's not curving and it's not spinning. Same thing with the motionless Earth claim. We don't have to exit the Earth to understand that the Earth cannot be motionless. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because physics shows that objects in free fall are not in motion. you know, they're not accelerating, you know. And again, how do we know that? Because all effects of motion and acceleration disappear, you know, in free fall. So it's a quick example. Here's a quick example of what pressure, water pressure, would look like here on Earth when it's attached to the Earth. Let me see. Okay, so this is a demonstration of what pressure, water pressure, again, when connected to the Earth, looks like, and what the effects of this pressure and weight is. You know, you can see, hopefully it's loud enough. That should be good.
So to demonstrate the different pressures at the different depths in this fluid, I have, I'll pull these stoppers out. The deeper we go, the higher the pressure and the faster the velocity will come out.
Okay, real quick, you see the top stream coming out? It has less pressure because there's less water above. There's less weight above the top one. Therefore, there's less pressure pushing the water out. So the one in the middle has more water above it than the one on top. Therefore, it has more pressure pushing the water out, so the stream goes further. The one all the way in the bottom has the most weight than the three of them because it has the most water above it. Therefore, the pressure from all the water above pushes the water the furthest, the lower it gets. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense. He'll be explaining a little further, but the more weight there's above, especially when it comes to water, the more pressure you're gonna have below. You know, so the higher you go, the less weight above, the less pressure. And again, this is a demonstration of when water, you know, of visualizing the pressure. See that? See how it loses pressure when the water level starts to come to it?
That always the deepest one had the highest velocity and the highest pressure.
All right. So now we're gonna observe that similar basically thing in free fall. So, all right.
It's very simple, right? So all we have here is a bottle of water that has holes in it, right? So of course the water is spraying out of...
Again, the water is spraying out right now because he's in contact with the earth and he's holding the bottle. So technically the bottle is in contact with the earth through him, in a way you could say. So it's not in free fall right now because he's holding it and he's attached to the earth. So technically, if the earth was in motion, the bottle is in, everything's in motion basically right now. So there's a force being applied to it, and that's why the water, the weight of the water above these holes is pushing the water out of the holes because he's holding it. Again, these scientists like to invert the, you know, the pushing force of the earth into a pulling imaginary force. So they just invert it, you know, and that's how they're tricking people. But
the holes, because gravity is pulling on the water, right? But if Einstein is right, if I drop this bottle, the water will no longer feel gravity, so the water should stop spraying out. So let's see it. 3, 2, 1. Whoa. Wow. Come on now, okay.
So as soon as he releases the bottle, you can see that pressure disappears, therefore weight disappears. So there's no more pressure, there's no more weight above to press on the water down to then squirt the water out of the holes. So in this demonstration, we can clearly see that there's no weight, there's no pressure, and also there's no orientation. So, you know, because there's no pressure, there's no weight, there's no orientation. You know, so all experiments show that objects in free fall don't experience any of those things. So another thing about density and buoyancy, that also disappears. I have a short video. Yeah, I should have put it on mute. This is other video from Andrew Execrate 200. It's a really good video with showing density and buoyancy in free fall and how it disappears as well. So here we go. So this is density and buoyancy. This is a water column with, it's an air bubble and a weight. So you can see them when you flip some upside down, they move to the, you know, to find equilibrium. You can see that it's right side up right now. Then he turns it upside down. And then when he turns it right side up and releases it, okay, now it's right side up. Look at that. Bubble's moving. And then as soon as he releases it, the bubble stops moving, stops going up. There, he released it. Look at that. The bubble stopped moving. And so did the other object, you know, stop moving down as well. Not until it comes in contact with the Earth again right now, it's when you start to see the motion again. You know, so density and buoyancy effects of objects moving down and rising through a medium within a container, you know, disappears. It doesn't exist in free fall. There's no pressure to cause that. That's why there's no motion to cause that, because you need motion to create the density and buoyancy effects. It's not the other way around, you know. Here's a test number 2. You can see upside down right now, right side up, and again you can see the movement every time. There you go. And then right side up, and again, look again, bubbles moving, and then as soon as he releases it, at this point, look at that, it stopped. So again, all effects of motion and acceleration disappear in free fall, telling us, showing us that objects don't accelerate towards the Earth. We don't have to exit the Earth like a lot of flat earthers are saying. Again, they're sounding just like globe earthers. Well, like globers, right? Well, what is the sun? Well, what's the moon? They start to ask questions that can't be answered. And then they think they're gonna get some points, because now flat earthers are doing that. They're asking questions that can't be answered. Well, the only way is to exit the Earth. Oh, and another thing, they'll say, well, what's powering the Earth, you know, to be in motion? What's thrusting the Earth? You know, that's a stupid ass question, because that's like asking what's powering the sun, what's powering the moon, what's powering the stars. I don't know, but we can clearly observe that they're working. You know what I'm saying? So to say that because you don't understand how it could work, that means it's not like that, that doesn't make any sense. So that's why, you know, I kind of titled the video the way it is, because I would rather have questions that can be answered than answers that don't make any sense. So objects accelerating towards the Earth don't make any sense. You know, physics shows us that the Earth is in constant motion, and gravity is only present when objects are in contact with the Earth. Now, I've seen arguments like, oh, what about hot air balloons? You know, hot air balloons are not attached to the Earth. Blah, 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 blah. Like, how are they not attached? They're attached to the atmosphere, which is attached to the Earth. And again, a hot air balloon can only suspend itself. Again, it's in the name. It needs hot air. Why? Because hot air is less dense than regular air. So what's gonna happen? The air is gonna push the less dense air up. So that's what's gonna keep the helium balloon up. So technically, it's moving with the reference frame, because it's moving with the atmosphere, which is attached to the reference frame. It's being pushed by the reference frame. You know what I'm saying? So these arguments of helicopters hovering and hot air balloons and you know, if anything, how does that make sense on a stationary Earth? How does air pressure keep buildings, you know, semi-trucks, everything to the Earth, but yet it can't keep helium down? You know what I'm saying? A helium, it can't keep that down, you know? So I would flip the question back to the stationary Earth and say, how is that possible on a stationary Earth? How do helium balloons rise? How does the air pressure push down and up? That doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Again, here's another thing that I came to, well, kind of like pondering. The natural physics of water is to form a level. That's, in my opinion, that's false. The natural physics of water is that it's formless. That's the natural physics of water. It's formless unless you apply a force on it. Then it will take the shape of the container and the surface will equilibrate if it's a uniform force. Obviously, if you add a spinning force to a container of water, the water's gonna rise up on the sides of the container, again, because of centrifugal effects. It's gonna try to get pushed out. So we know that's not happening in the oceans. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a spin force. It's a push force, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Because water, the natural physics of water is that it doesn't have a shape. It doesn't have a form. And that's why it takes the shape of the container and forms a horizontal when a force is applied. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there were just some points, you know, that I wanted to get through, and how using the same logic to debunk the curve and spin of the Earth is the same logic that debunks objects accelerating towards the Earth. It's an understanding of physics and how matter behaves is what's going to show us what's really happening. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, if you just want to believe that the Earth is stationary and that objects accelerate down, right, by themselves, I would say that's just a theory, because there's nothing, there's no physics, there's no natural science that backs up that claim. They cannot be recreated. You would literally just have to believe that this place is like a simulation of some sort. You know, because for example, when we have dreams, you know, our mind, whatever, I don't even know what dreams are exactly, but we can say that maybe, you know, a dream is kind of like a realm, and we could say that place, the floor is not moving. You know, if anything, it's just simulating this reality. Dreams simulate this reality. So that's why in dreams there's no laws of physics. You could fly in dreams, you could breathe underwater. Again, the Earth doesn't have to be in motion, but you'll still, you know, things will still fall down because it's a simulation. Our dreams are trying to simulate this reality. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know what dreams are exactly, but this is just based on my experience. So to claim that this place is a simulation, that's a huge leap of faith. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing else to reference this place. Like dreams, you know, we have this place to reference dreams, to say that, okay, that's a simulation of this. But to claim that this is a simulation of what? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the only way this place could be stationary, which in my opinion, that's just a theory. It's not a scientific theory, which again, just want to go over this real quick. Oh, what's up, Beyond the Imaginary Curve? What's up, dog? So, real quick. So a theory, because again, just like natural science, or science in general, has three branches. You know, we got the social sciences, natural sciences, and the formal sciences, right? When it comes to theories, there's also three branches of theories. Here, let me just go over the Wikipedia definition of it, and then we'll break it down. So, a theory is a rational type of abstract thinking. So that's kind of a contradiction there already on its own. Rational and abstract thinking shouldn't be in the same sentence, but whatever. We'll just get past that. A theory is a rational type of abstract thinking about a phenomenon. Again, abstract thinking about a phenomenon, or the results of such thinking. The process of contemplative and rational thinking is often associated with such processes as observational study or research. Theories may be scientific. Again, you could have scientific theories. They could belong to a non-scientific discipline. In other words, the theories could be non-scientific. For example, like the theory of Santa Claus, right? Those are examples of theories that are not scientific, right? And then there's theories with no discipline at all, meaning just completely, I guess the Santa Claus one will be that one, a completely made up theory. Depending on the context, a theory's assertions might, for example, include generalized explanations of how nature works. The word has its roots in ancient Greek, but in modern use it has taken on several meanings, right? So again, three different definitions of theories. I'm going to focus on two, which is the scientific theory and the non-scientific theory. So this is my breakdown and, you know, simple definition of oh no, not this one. We'll get to that one. Okay, of non-science theory versus scientific theory. So you know, to me, my definition of a non-science theory, a non-scientific theory, would be a conclusion that's not backed by any physical or practical experiments and doesn't follow the scientific method. These are examples of that: history, myths, art, religion, and subjective experiences. You know, these are all, you know, examples of what non-scientific or non-science theories are. I would say the motionless Earth it's in that category, you know, because there's no natural science to back it up. It's subjective, it's historic, if anything. It's just been books, if anything, which makes it religious, you know, it makes it a myth, you know. So a scientific theory is a conclusion that's backed by understanding basic principles and laws of the natural world, aka physics, understanding basic principles of motion, for example, right? And how matter should behave under these conditions of motion and acceleration, right? And utilizing the scientific method, you know, obviously that's all part of natural science. So these are examples: physics, chemistry, biology, and objectivity, the real world, you know. So those are the two different, you know, when we're talking about theories, what are you talking about? Are you talking about a scientific theory or a non-science theory, you know, right? Because the gravity, the pulling force of gravity claims to be a scientific theory, but that's just it's a non-science theory because they take a phenomenon that we observe, but there's no practical experiments or demonstrations to back up that claim. Therefore, it's a non-science theory. It's just a religion, you know. And in the other hand, you know, physics debunking that objects accelerate down, that's a scientific theory that the Earth is rising because it can be backed up by physics. It can be backed up by practicality, you know, by laws, you know what I'm saying, that we understand. So it becomes a scientific theory because it's not just a guess. It's based on our understanding. Again, the same logic how we understand that the Earth is level, and how we know that it's the same logic that we understand that the Earth cannot be motionless, you know. So it comes down to this. This is the last one: motionless versus motion. So literally, you look at the motionless. It's a non-science theory. You have to believe it's some kind of simulation. It's based on belief, which makes it a religion, you know, based on imagination, and it's just subjective. You know what I'm saying? When it understand, you know, if the Earth was in motion, that's a scientific theory because, again, it's backed by physics, you know, understanding natural science. It's reality, it's objective, you know. So it just basically comes down to these simple, you know, this is what it comes down to, you know, whether people like it or not. You know, I'm not here to please people or people please, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to represent the facts. I'm here to represent reality for what it is. And this is literally what reality shows us. So now if you just want to continue to just be a follower and not think for yourself and just keep claiming that the Earth is motionless, again, if you're one of these people that says, well, we can't leave the Earth to prove that it's in motion, well, guess what? You can't prove that it's motionless either by your logic. You know, we're going by your logic, because if you're using basic logic or you know, then it tells us that the Earth is in motion, you know. But again, if you just want to believe, you know, that's up to you. You know, I can't force anyone, you know, to think for themselves. You know, that's impossible. But you know, this is literally what it comes down to. And yeah, let me see if I see anything. I don't believe the Earth is moving. I mean, that's your belief. Nothing personal here. Natural physics proves that the Earth is moving because it proves that objects don't move towards the Earth. So by default, the only logical conclusion is that the Earth isn't coming in contact with the Earth, especially if all tests show that density and buoyancy and all effects of motion and acceleration are only present when in contact with the Earth. So if all the effects of motion are only present when in contact with the Earth, then I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure that. I mean, a 5-year-old, I'm sure, can understand that. You know what I'm saying? So no, yeah, it's a trip. You know what I'm saying? So the sky is a reference frame too, though. What do you mean the sky is a reference frame? We don't even know what the sky is. I mean, how the depth of the sky, you know. If you ask me, we are being contained somehow. I guess the only way to have air pressure, and you know, the water has to be contained. The only way objects fall and rise through a medium, you know, that's contained, it's if the container is in motion. There's literally no other way, because matter doesn't move on its own. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would rather believe that every cell on Earth, every cell, think about how many cells are in one human body. Now think about how many human bodies, how many animals, how many, everything, not even life, human life and animal life, and matter in general, every cell will have to be calibrated and orientated down. Think about that. That doesn't make any sense to every single cell to be calibrated and orientated down like a computer program. You will have to do it. Every cell you input to the program, you have to literally calibrate it to basically, that's the only way it will work. Or you could just have a bunch of matter and then the earth is in motion and gives all the effects that we see. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's not just the claim, it's the practical that shows that. You know what I'm saying? You know. Let me see. There's no place for theories, assumptions, postulations, concepts in my life. All I care about is pure hardcore facts backed by practical demonstration. Yeah? Imran, I agree. Yep. I don't have a bias. I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have nothing to gain. I don't give a fuck if the earth is in motion or not. You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't give a fuck if the earth is in motion or not. But guess what? The facts show that it is. Why? Because objects don't accelerate down towards the earth. They don't accelerate. Physics debunks objects accelerating down towards the earth. The falling tree makes no noise without an observer. I mean, these philosophical questions, you know, yes, sound has to be heard, because otherwise it's just vibrations in the air, right? So there needs to be a subject to experience sound so that sound could exist, right? Otherwise it's just vibration. So sound does exist in a sense where, again, the air around it's gonna be disturbed. You know, even if nobody's there to hear it, guess what? The air around the tree that fell is gonna be disturbed. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. So yeah, maybe nobody heard the tree fall, but it still fell and it still made a noise because it made a disturbance in the air. You know, it made a sound wave, basically. Just nobody was there to hear it. But, you know, what we call sound, it was there. It was just nobody there to experience it, you know, if you ask me. Let me see. No, not very practical to my understanding that dropping a sealed bottle in free fall with objects within it prove that the earth is rising. It's not proving that the earth is rising. It's proving that objects don't accelerate down. We're not trying to prove the earth moving upwards. We're debunking the claim of objects accelerating down. Just like we don't have to prove the flat earth, we debunk the claim that water is bending. Just like we don't have to prove that the earth is not spinning, we debunk the claim that the earth is not spinning. We don't have to prove that the earth is in motion. We just have to debunk that objects don't accelerate down. Like, again, flat earthers are literally just sounding like Globers now. Literally bringing up questions that can't be answered as some kind of, you know, scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's pretty cringy, but people could, again, believe whatever the hell they want. Beyond belief, people are running with all sorts of theories and exponential narratives, and there's no pushback, just backslapping. Difference with this is that it's backed with demonstrable reality and not wordplay. Yep. This. How fast is it not moving? I don't think people want to understand. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Upwards relative to us, exactly. Because again, relative to us, you know, whatever's outside this reality, I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know if it's another reality similar to this. You know, it could be, we could be very tiny and, you know, giants built this. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck this place is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine what's outside of it. You know, and just because I can't do that, that doesn't mean we throw away the practical. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
Actually, you know, testing people's common sense. If you guys want to give it a shot, very easy, elementary level.
Just got fried.
I'm sorry?
Our brains just got fried.
Oh, elementary level.
This is where I get embarrassed, though.
Oh,
Good luck on my bike and I'll
All right.
do it together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be even easier that way. Yeah, we'll wait for him. Okay, very easy. Both questions have to do with water. You know, very elementary physics. You know what I'm saying? Water. So when water is contained, like in this bottle, for example, it always goes to the lowest point. You know, it always takes the shape of the container, and it always fills the container from the bottom to the top, right? And the surface always levels out, right? Because I could change the orientation of the bottle, right? But water remains in the same orientation. It always remains on the bottom and always levels out. Doesn't matter what orientation the bottle's in. Water only has one orientation. Would you agree? Or you know, could you give me an example of water, you know, being in a different orientation when contained?
What do you mean by orientation?
Orientation as in remains level. It remains, because you know, the surface is always level, but I could change the orientation of the bottle, but the water remains level. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
The plane, I guess the shape.
The surface, yeah, the surface of the water remains the same, is my point. Even, you know, I could change.
You're saying like one side won't be higher.
Exactly. Would you guys agree? Like, it's obvious, right? Like, water could never stick to the top either.
I feel like this is a trick question. But
No, it's still not the.
Okay,
I just want you to
okay.
understand basic reality. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah,
You'll
yeah.
never see a pool in the roof of a. You know what I'm saying? You'll never dive into a pool going up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Water's
Yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
on the floor,
Right,
you
right.
know, and level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Since we understand that fact about water, that it always goes down, it always shows us the direction of down and always levels out accordingly. So we understand that fact. I took 3 different pictures, one like this, 3 different orientations, one sideways and one upside down. I want to see if you guys can tell the difference based on the water, right?
Yeah.
So since we understand that water always goes down, how I'm showing you these, which one is in the correct orientation? Only one is in the correct orientation. Because again, I took the,
What do you mean by correct orientation? Like,
how I'm showing you these.
Yeah.
If you're paying attention to the water,
uh-huh.
which one is in the correct orientation?
Which color is the water?
1, 2. The water is blue, by the way. I painted it blue with.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
and that's a good question.
The
by way.
water's blue.
Yeah, I painted it blue with food coloring just to make it easier to see. But
So you're-
if we understand water always goes down and it levels out, which one is in the correct orientation?
What is the red and what is the...
Oh, this is just like the surface basically that I put it on. I made the background the same to make it a little bit tricky. That way you have to focus on the water. Because I didn't want it to make it easy. You know, if you could see the background, and you'll be able to figure it out easy.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to pay attention to the water. Again, because the physics of water only has one orientation. So which one is in the correct orientation?
I want to say all of them.
You think they're all in the correct orientation? So you think water can stick sideways like that?
No, but you could, because right now...
Oh, I'm showing them to you though.
Right.
Okay, for example, this picture could be in 4 different orientations, right?
Yeah.
Which one is the correct orientation of this one and this one and this one?
Well, you could hold the bottle like this.
Exactly. So if I'm showing it to you like this, what's the correct orientation?
How do I know if you're holding it like this or like this?
Well, if you're looking at the water. If you're looking at the water's going to show you. Okay, let's go
So
one by
when-
one. What's the correct orientation for this one?
So when you say correct orientation, like as if you were to replicate it right now, what orientation would you hold it in?
Because I took a picture of
Yeah.
this, you know, in a certain position. The bottle was in a certain position.
Yeah.
But the water's always going to remain level. It's always going to go down. And
Right, right.
So if I'm showing you this picture as is, with the water, you know, obviously in a certain position, is this the correct position of the water?
My intuition wants to say to like flip it upside down.
Exactly. This is the correct orientation of this picture, because the water cannot stick to the top of the bottle. So I took
Okay.
it upside down, like you said, right?
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
make sense? So if we understand that, what's the correct orientation of this one?
Well, you would want to say sideways.
Exactly. That's the one I took like this. You got it. And which one was in the correct orientation then? out of all three.
If by correct orientation you mean that we wouldn't have to change,
Exactly, we don't have to change it as is.
then it should be the third one.
Exactly. Okay, you got it. Right, so how I'm showing them to you, this one was in the correct orientation.
Okay.
Because the correct orientation for this one's like this, and the correct orientation for this one's like this.
Okay.
And how do we know that? Because the water. Again, I could never get the water to stick to the side, so logically I had to take it like this.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Okay.
So that makes sense, right? Pretty
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's logical, right? Reasonable. All right, so this next one's actually even easier. Hopefully you guys get this one quick.
Okay.
So level, right? Water always finds its level. What could be another word for level?
Flat. I don't know.
Horizontal is actually the proper definition, because again, if something's at a slope, it's not level. You know what I'm saying? So because we understand the fact about water too, that it always finds its level.
Okay.
Which one of these two represents level as we know it? A or B?
As we know.
As we know it, you know, based on physics of water, which one represents level? A or B? I mean, anyone can. Okay, you say A. Okay. What do you say?
Square to the plumb line.
What's the plumb line?
Plumb. You know what a plumb line is?
No.
It's true vertical. So a plumb line is when you have a weight on a string,
Oh, okay.
and it shows you true. It's a downwards vector, basically. So
Okay.
it's vertical.
So basically, you're saying like, oh, we're not.
So when we're looking at the water, which one represents a level? Based on our definition of water level or water finance level.
I feel like we should play along. I want to say A.
Right, that's the obvious one. I mean, you agree? Would you agree it's A as well, or do you think it's B? What level means when it comes to water? You thinking B? Okay. Okay. So I was just getting there. So, in my opinion, obviously, testable, repeatable, you know, physics shows us that the answer is A. But we've all been tricked, in my opinion, to make believe that the answer is B, and that's the answer. Why? Because you guys believe the Earth is a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, so they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles, which gives us a circumference of 24,901 miles, which means there has to be curvature every mile, and every mile has to increase because it's not a slope, it's a curve. They're telling us, right? So in the first mile is an 8-inch drop. Second mile, 32 inches. By the third mile, it should be 6 feet of curvature. So in 10 miles, it should be 66 feet. That's like a 6-story building in 10 miles. So if we actually went out to like a giant lake that was miles across to physically measure for this curvature, the water is going to show us that it's going to be parallel to anything horizontal above it, meaning it's not going to curve, because that's the physics of water. But they're trying to tell us that the water is bending 6 feet in 3 miles. You know, but if we actually went out to a lake that was 3-4 miles across, exactly. There should be 6 feet and 3 miles in all directions. So the physics of water debunks the globe Earth claim. So if I was to ask you guys, what's the number one proof that makes you believe that the Earth is a ball?
Curvature changes when you go from east to west.
Well, if we're always on top of the ball, allegedly. We're always standing on top of the ball because of
It'll
the.
take a person longer to get to the North Pole than to get to, say, India, across the world, and up to it.
Well, when it comes to distances of the Earth, the dimensions of the Earth, how far, nobody actually knows. So what they're telling us, you know, the flight paths that people, you know, that the commercial airplanes take, I would say they're not telling us the complete dimensions of the Earth. So when they're showing us,
Well, they would have to know. It's physics.
Yeah, they just follow a GPS.
It's a longer route.
But they just follow a GPS. So like you follow your car.
Like if I drove from here to Atlanta, the plane is flying more miles than me driving.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with physically measuring curvature, regardless, anyway, because airplanes flying level.
Time and distance.
Well, again, time and distance. If time and distance, again, like you're saying, then we should be able to physically measure that curvature. Every lake on Earth should be displaying this curvature.
It was a documentary, and what they did was they got a group of flat earthers, and what they did is they went out on a boat, and they got a very strong laser, and they had people on both sides. Have you seen this?
Yeah. So So I would say laser experiments are deliberately being pushed on the mainstream, and I'm gonna tell you why. What happens when you shine a laser in water? Does it go straight?
You're talking about diffraction.
Exactly.
We're talking about diffraction in air, which has a lower and
But it's still there.
calculated.
That's my point.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. It's not gonna be a definitive answer. That's the point.
But we can
It's gonna be
calculate.
inconclusive.
That's with everything.
But this is not going to be inconclusive. This is a physical measurement. So we could build a perfectly level structure over the lake and physically measure with a ruler all the way down, opposed to just relying on air and refraction and light
I mean,
that
that's
bends.
just saying if the water level is visible, you could still have like a water table underneath the actual.
The water, you could have that too, underneath the water, something that's perfectly level, or above the water that's perfectly
Lake
level.
Tahoe, that lake is flat. Even when you're on sand, if you try to dig a hole, you're gonna hit water because there's still a water table.
Okay, sure.
It's still all
Okay.
flat. And so that kind of disproves how if I was on the shore of Lake Tahoe, I
I
have
see.
to dig deeper.
Deeper every. Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
if
go.
I'm
There-
outside on the
you're
shore.
thinking. You're
Yeah,
thinking.
but it's not. So
Yeah.
there's a water table that even still we don't see.
Exactly. No, yeah. I don't know if you knew the Earth is like a sponge, so there is a layer of water
Yeah.
if you dig so deep to the Earth. And again, it has to be level, you know. But so what would be the number one proof that convinces you that the Earth is a ball? Was it just like obviously that
Bible.
experiment came after
Mine's the Bible.
the Bible? Okay, that you believe the Earth is a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, and what would be your number one proof?
See, it's not really.
It's kind of funny because a lot of flat earthers will say, again, these are flat earthers that I don't really understand, but they'll say they believe the Earth is flat because of the Bible as well.
Yeah, Bible says.
Yeah, I stay away from religion. I would say the globe Earth is the biggest religion, though, because it's based on faith. What are the three main things all
But
religion?
the Bible doesn't necessarily say that the firmament is flat.
Oh, we don't know what the
It doesn't
shape
say
of the
that.
firmament is.
It says that from north to south, east to west, the winds will go from. It'll circumvent the earth.
Right.
That's what it says in the Bible. Circumvent is a circle. That's
Yeah.
my proof of the Bible. But back then, the floods. Like we just said, there's a huge water underneath, right?
Yeah, there's-
That's how the flood. That's where the water came. The water didn't come from up top. The water sprang from the earth. It says in the Bible, and that's where.
My
it's all
opinion
proof.
is-
So the Bible
yeah.
doesn't contradict itself.
Right. Well, the way I see
The
it,
people, the atheists and the people who are trying to prove that, they're
Yeah.
not reading in between the lines
Right.
what the Bible instructs you to say.
Right.
Line upon line, precept upon precept. And the Bible is it's the first hyperlinked book in history. It's the most hyperlinked book. And you're going to tell me, like, that's fact, that's fiction?
I would say any religion trying to tell you how this
It's
place
not a
came to be.
religion, it's the Bible.
Well, whatever,
Many religions read
any
my
Bible or religion, any person, because the Bible came from a person, supposedly, right? Through God,
It did not.
through God and a
Many
person.
people, not one
Okay, people, any person or people or group that's telling you how this place came to be and how it all, I would say they're lying because the fact is nobody knows. I would admit that
Yeah,
this place was
exactly.
created.
But there's historical evidence, and the Bible is a historical document. It's the most number one selling
Historical
book.
evidence of what?
So when you read a science book, you got to read that differently than a historical document. You're not going to read a science textbook the same way you're going to read.
What
a
does history
historical
prove,
document.
if I was to ask you?
History proves what happened in the past based off of witnessing, based off of.
So we just have to take people's word, basically.
Do you believe in Aristotle? Do you believe in?
I don't believe any characters that existed over 50 years, to be honest.
That's congruent. That's congruent. Okay,
Yeah,
but some people be like, some people would rather listen to the words of Aristotle or Plato. There's more evidence than Jesus lived. And
I don't
walked this
listen
earth
to
than them.
any priest, any scientific priest, any
So what do you
religious
listen
priest.
to?
My own intuition, my common sense, my
Oh,
understanding of
man,
reality,
That's the worst
understanding
thing you can do.
physics. If you don't trust your own common sense, what are you going to trust?
Ooh, if you don't trust your own, it looks. It's illusions. You can't trust.
I would
what
say if you don't
see.
trust your common sense, you have illusions because you have to delude
Let's say you
delude
were raised,
yourself.
Let's say you were raised in a total environment where common sense doesn't even make sense. It's a total.
People
different-
die when they're
Nazis,
babies.
Nazis. Their common sense is, oh, we need to.
These are just stories. I don't
You
believe what I don't.
believe in the Holocaust.
The Holocaust is just a story that nobody could verify. It's just my point. Like nobody knows exactly what happened.
What's
It's
your
my
name?
point. My name is William.
William?
William.
I'm gonna pray for you, William.
All right. I'll pray for you as well.
You ain't praying to nothing. You're gonna pray to yourself.
I'll pray to the invisible entity
His name
to
is
help
God.
you.
Jesus loves you.
I'll pray to the invisible entity to help you.
Jesus loves you.
Yeah. Yeah. When you start asking questions about logical questions about history and how it proves anything, it just falls apart, literally.
Anyways, yeah, you seem great. That's nice.
Yeah.
I really like the camera. I also have a GoPro. Do you recommend the Action 3 personally?
Oh yeah, it doesn't overheat.
It doesn't
long
overheat?
battery life
Oh my God.
and interchangeable batteries as well, which the one before one didn't have it. So yeah, I do recommend it.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
no. Does the mounts do you think I could transfer over because I have GoPro mounts?
Oh,
Yeah, because I know they look kind of similar. Like
to be
from what I
honest,
see.
this one's magnetic. But yeah, you could buy this a magnetic attachment, and and then you could use any mount.
Oh yeah, that sounds so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get into like more camera apparatus. And
No,
stuff.
yeah, it's
Just
pretty cool.
for-
It's pretty fun. It is fun.
Anyways.
I mean, do you have any questions before you go about this subject? I know you've heard about it.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I've seen some things. I enjoy discourse.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna be disrespectful or anything.
Oh, to be honest, I'm not. I like to think I have pretty thick skin. So
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I used to have very thin skin. Still working on it.
Yeah.
I guess what do you want to talk about?
I
I'll
mean,
listen to you. I love
okay. So let's get to the next point, the horizon.
Sure.
How would you describe the horizon?
As weird. Diffraction is crazy, bro.
So I mean, geometrically, how would you describe it?
Well, you've got something really far away, we're looking at a heliocentric model, and we've got a dot. And the angle is going to change minusculely, and as you rotate, you're going to get a large array of angles, which we can...
So you say the horizon is random? It doesn't have a shape?
No, it's not random. There's
Okay,
a
what
track
shape is the
solid-
horizon, if I was to ask you?
I guess an arc.
You think it's an arc? So it looks like an arc right here, you think?
Not always. Depends
Not
on the
always?
location.
Okay, so in my opinion, the only place, and pay attention if you look into this after,
Okay.
the only place you're at that warp horizontal lines,
Fish Island.
fish islands,
Yeah.
exactly. Or through CGI cartoons like this.
CG.
So this is an official NASA image, and they
Okay.
call it an image because it's not a photograph. So I don't know if you knew the word image comes from the word imagination.
No, it's combined from several satellite pictures to make a
Yeah, so it's a composite. It's
Yes.
Photoshop, basically. It's made in the computer, basically. It's not a natural photograph.
But you have to understand what they mean by that.
No, I know what they mean, but my understanding is that they're bypassing the fact that there's no curvature, so they're just creating this and showing it on TV.
That's not the best way of describing it.
I know their explanation is that they can't go high enough, even though they supposedly went to the moon. But they have to take strips of imagery, right? They say the only real image they have is from 1972, I think, from the
Yes.
Apollo missions,
Yeah.
which has been debunked before. Which again, I don't know if you've seen the. There's different ways that picture's been debunked. You know, first, water is the first thing that debunks it because obviously that image would defy physics. Any image that defies physics. If you show me a picture of you flying, or if I showed you a picture of me flying, would you believe I could fly?
Well, I wouldn't go with that conclusion.
Exactly. Why?
Well,
Why wouldn't you believe I could fly if I showed you a video of me flying or a
we
picture?
would just look at your anatomy and be like, no.
So, because physics tells you that it's physically impossible for a human to fly, right? Physics
Yeah,
shows you.
But you're starting with a set conclusion.
But that's physics. That's science. That's natural science. That's demonstrable, testable, repeatable.
Can you demonstrably retest this under the following conditions?
Yeah,
labeled?
I would say I haven't done it myself, but
Uh-huh.
physical measurement of the surface of water, like this.
Yeah.
That's why I like to show this first,
Uh-huh.
because it's the #1 proof to debunk the globe. Will show any physical measurement of the surface of water will show that it doesn't deviate, it doesn't curve. Because if there is a deviation, that's what a river is. That's
Okay.
why rivers
So
flow, because
if-
they're in a deviation.
If we're talking about
Water-
level and then
Yeah.
structure, right? I'd like to go back to refraction.
Refraction.
Yeah. Do you think that is repeatable? Yes or no?
Refraction, I mean, it could be repeated, but you're repeating an inconclusive test, which to me is
Describe
pointless.
that to me.
Huh?
Describe that to me.
Because when you shine a laser through the air,
Okay.
again, refraction is always going to be there. And another thing about
Yes.
lasers, they expand the further you. Again, you could get a super expensive laser,
Yes.
but you cannot suck the air out of the earth to have
Yeah.
a completely moistless or water-free environment. Basically, that doesn't exist. So to do this test, to me, becomes illogical
Okay.
because of that.
I'll give you an idea.
Sure.
So let's see.
Yeah, it's not gonna
I understand that. We could go on an example we probably both agree on. There's a laser kit you can buy for like $20 or something,
Sure.
and we see the glass. If I shoot the glass, and it refracts.
Right.
The glass has a refraction.
Right.
And we know with this material that if I get the same piece of glass, and even if I switch out the laser to something similar, what's gonna happen?
You're gonna get a different effect. I would assume, right? If you switch the glass.
If you switch the glass, yeah. But if I switch the laser, I get similar laser, the angle's probably going to be the same,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, if you change the laser. Yeah.
Which means we can trust that.
But the thing is that angle that's always going to be there,
Yes.
I would say not only is refraction going to happen, but also lasers expand the further they are.
But we can do with like marginal error.
I would say that doing a physical measurement will be way more practical, way more conclusive, way more concrete to prove the curve as well, than just relying on a light that we know that there's going to be refraction. You know, which in my opinion, again, you're not going to get a conclusive answer. But if you rather be in that position, that's fine. But I would tell you that this is a more concrete way of measuring it to get to the bottom of it.
I think you're overvaluing the margin of error.
So there will be a margin of error when constructing this. I agree, but it's going to be less than like 2%, which we can account for.
Okay, so I would say the same thing with what I just described with the laser, right?
I would say how would you
How would I go about devising this?
Yeah, like correcting the margin of error from a laser experiment, I think will be way more difficult.
No.
You know, and not as tangible than doing something like this, in my opinion. Especially if we build it 10 miles, where there should be 66 feet of curvature in 10 miles. And there's lakes that are over 20 miles across. So we can easily build a bridge over a lake that's 10 miles, and there should be 66 feet, which is a 6-story building. It's probably taller than this tower here.
Yeah.
That's how much curvature there should be in 10 miles. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So,
I can kind of see what
you know what I'm saying? And it has to
okay.
increase more and more and more. You know, it's just not the way nature works.
Let's
Here's the thing real quick.
Yeah.
Science, right? Because people claim, oh, the Earth has a bunch of science backing it up, right? I don't know if you knew, there's 3 branches of science. There is formal science, natural science, and social science. Natural science, which has to do with physics, biology, chemistry, physically, objectively measuring things, you know, weight, distance, you know, that proves that the Earth is a level plane. The globe Earth science is formal science, which is based on length. You're talking
branch.
Okay, I would say like astrophysicists, for example, right?
No.
What are you talking about?
Simplify. I'll give an example.
Yeah.
I work in a lab. We do genomics.
Okay.
There's data. We make data.
Okay. What's genomics? Educate.
Oh, genomics is like you have a genome. Is this chemical here? How does this chemical interact?
Okay.
There's a wonderful array of like building this knowledge. Like we have so many questions, and it's really cool to build on.
Okay, we're talking about chemicals, right?
Yes.
That's chemistry. That's natural science.
Yes.
That doesn't prove the globe, though.
Yeah, we're not talking about the globe right now.
Oh no, I agree with you, though. I mean, what's your point? I guess
the point I'm saying is, personally, I'm not a physicist. I cannot say with full confidence into the acuity with the history of physics to the extent of someone who is as passionate about physics.
Okay.
I am merely a guy.
Just like me.
Follows the stuff, kind of understands it, and makes the best with what I've done.
Okay.
I feel like you're trying to do that too. And
Fair enough. Yeah.
And yeah. So I'm gonna leave with my apparatus because I gotta go rock climbing soon. And here's yeah. No, I'm going with a friend. It's pretty cool.
No, yeah.
Okay, so we've got this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go back to my laser analogy. Scalable. Margin of error. You're focusing on widening, right?
Sure.
Yeah, like that was something you were concerned about. You could measure the widening of the laser, right?
Yeah.
And so you can account for that.
Yeah, you can account for that.
Exactly. So remember I brought up the example of a bent glass? Yeah. If I shot a laser at here and it bounced at 45 degrees, like let's just say it's a ballpark number.
Right.
Then, if I have this origin point, and I can retrace this and duplicate it over and over again, I can find out the origin of the laser, or where it should be expected to be, right?
Sure. Yeah, based on the angles.
Yeah, we found that same angle.
Yeah.
We can, like, kind of triangulate it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we have that duplicable status, so we have this angle, we can apply the same thing to air, actually, which is why we have labs and what they've done. There's even constants for this. You find that in physics textbook. Obviously, it would be harder for you and me to personally do this because of the equipment. I greatly understand what you mean with paywalls. Paywalls in science are so infuriating, but they're also kind of impossible to get rid of to some extent. Like, we have $2 million microscopes. I can't get that back.
No, yeah.
And when you think about it with, like, the laser, right?
Yeah.
Right here, what we have, that duplicable constant for air, we would be able to, again, accommodate for that. And so it wouldn't be random. It wouldn't be chance, because through data, focusing, duplicating that standard, many people can duplicate that standard. We would have a agreed upon number by a consensus, which is what a scientific consensus is people duplicating, finding out that data, and then reproducing it.
Yeah, I would say we should do this in every lake on Earth to basically get a consensus.
At that point, you wouldn't need a consensus.
Well, exactly, because it would just be self-evident.
No.
With this one. But with the laser one, I would say that one would require consensus, because, again, what you're saying about the angle, when we trace the laser where it's coming from, I get that's possible, in a controlled environment, obviously.
It's also possible here because we can calculate.
No, but when we're talking long distances and straight distances, first of all, how would you level the laser to make sure that it's straight? First of all, the irony is that you use water to level the laser. You know what I'm saying? Or how would you level the laser to be perfectly straight forward?
Fundamentally, as a laser,
I mean, it could have like a gyroscope built in, I guess, or something.
No. You're
how would you
too much on the angle.
No, how would you make sure that the laser's straight? First of all.
Okay. So you can't have anything perfect. Perfect is impossible.
No, I'm not even talking about refraction. I'm just talking about, how a laser shoots.
I understand. No.
How do you make sure it's straight? regardless of refraction.
There's a realm, okay?
Okay.
So when you have an angle and you also have margins of error, there's margins of error in everything. But they're obviously not going to be like to the exact degree. It's going to be specifically 11 feet. We're going to have a range of maybe like plus or 2 inches.
No, I'm talking about, yeah, I think you're talking about the refraction aspects, that there is going to be a margin of error.
No, just for the thing too.
So leveling it, it's going to basically,
be a margin of error.
Even with leveling it. So there's going to be 2 margins of error. Leveling
there's
it.
There's always a margin of error.
Okay.
Everything.
Oh, okay,
it's
I see.
unavoidable.
Okay.
That kind of goes with any experiment. In your experiment,
I would say,
my experiment,
I would say,
always margin.
Fair enough. There'll be a margin of error on both, but I would still go back to that this will be a more concrete, self-evident measurement that even a 5-year-old can understand it.
I can see where you're going with that.
And I think that the more simplified an experiment is, the better it is.
The better.
Yeah. The more
More
overcomplicated. Yeah. The more overcomplicated something gets, I think that's where it could get abstract. You know what I'm saying?
The scientific literacy is it's a very hard barrier to.
Real physics, though, it's very simple demonstrations. Is my point.
Oh, you're talking.
Scientists, physicists can demonstrate to a 5-year-old and make them understand based on what they're showing, because it's very simple. You know what I'm saying? For example, do you know the second law of thermodynamics? How high pressure will always move to the lower pressure if there's no separation between them.
Oh yeah, gradients. Yeah.
You could say that. So if you have 2 containers, right?
Yeah, you're talking about entropy.
Entropy,
yes,
exactly. So that fact alone, that law that we understand of entropy, debunks the claim of outer space existing next to Earth's pressure without a solid container separated.
You're looking at that with kind of a set in stone answer.
Well, based on my understanding of physics,
yeah,
that's where I'm going based off of. You know,
can I ask you, is the barn this way?
Oh, if you want to go to the barn,
okay, he want to go. There's not a lot of place left to think by themselves, right? Hopefully my phone doesn't overheat. I've been getting this message already. Why are the lipsy and nerdy sounding people always the most brainwashed? yeah.
I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate the conversation.
Try to keep a lot of stuff open. Like,
yeah.
Like when you were talking about entropy, right?
Yeah.
You set that like 1 and 2. That's the whole thing that I've come to realize. A lot of things aren't 1 and 2. That's why it's very painful to explain things sometimes.
Not a lot of things are not, but a lot of things are.
Yeah.
I would say that. So
you would say that, and then it kind of just goes. Like I'll give an example right now.
Sure.
This is a phone. What is this?
Right. I would say it's plastic and aluminum and all that.
Yeah.
Work together.
Also say circuitry, chemistry, atoms, equilibrium. There's a million things going on.
It's mass in simple terms.
In simple terms. But that doesn't see the whole picture, because this could be mass.
Yeah,
and building that like complexity.
But we can take that phone apart and understand its functions.
Precisely.
Exactly.
And that's what we can do with fundamental aspects of physics.
Exactly. It has to be tangible, physical, measurable.
Tangible, theoretical, coincide.
Well, when you're talking about theories, I feel like that's
tested.
Yeah. So
theory is actually not the right word.
Exactly.
What you're thinking of is hypothesis.
Yeah, scientific theories, I would say, that are more viable than just theories, because they could be non-scientific theories as well.
You're using the vernacular word. So theory in science actually has a completely different meaning.
Yeah.
A theory is one of the most reputable things a actual idea can get. It's been tested, approved thoroughly. It's going to take a lot to go against the sheer amount of evidence for a theory. A hypothesis is what is normally the general word that could be attributed to. I have a theory, this is my idea, that's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
Yeah, that's why, stick to natural science, but yeah, I don't really like to go into theories as much. Theories are just up for debate, you could say, in a way.
At a certain point, they aren't.
Exactly, and then that's when they become laws, if you ask me. For example, the law of entropy. That's not a theory. Yeah. That's a law.
It's been tested enough to try it.
And then the first law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, that debunks the Big Bang claim, or the Big Bang theory. Laws debunk theories. Theories don't debunk laws. It's that simple.
Now you're focusing too much on that.
Well, that's a fact. Theories don't debunk laws. Laws debunk theories, if anything. If they're going up against each other, that's a simple fact, if you ask me.
You kind of lost me too much in the definition.
That's fine. I understand. All right, man.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for the conversation. All right.
Yeah, see you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, so action 3, right? You totally recommend? Like, last question. Sorry, no.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Like, how much footage do you think you get with this? Was the mic audio quality good?
Yeah, it's dual mics.
Dual mics?
Yeah, so left and right, basically.
Oh.
So if you're talking on this side, yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, does it have, like, a hissing noise? Like, I feel like my audio is hissing.
To be honest, because I usually use the audio from the phone. To be honest, I mean, it depends on the wind as well.
The audio from the phone, I presume, is better. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you just have to try it out. I mean, you can always return it too once you get it if you don't like it.
How much was it? Like 300?
Yeah, that's another thing that they're inexpensive compared to GoPros.
Yeah,
300. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, dude.
All right, man.
What was your name?
William.
William. Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, you want to take yourself on there, you know? Yeah, here you go.
Yeah,
Take care,
by
man.
all means.
There's a card in there, so just careful it doesn't fall.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right,
Have
man.
a nice day.
Yeah, you too. Damn. That orientation question, man. Oh my God, I cannot believe. I guess it could be me. It could be me not asking it the right way, which I think, I don't know, man. What the fuck? They definitely overthink it, because even at the end, they're like, well, if I had to go with my common sense, is this one. Or if based on that, is this one. So they do get it. I don't know why they're overthinking it so much, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Ah, man. Yeah, there's a theory of the Tooth Fairy. There's a theory of Santa Claus. There's a theory of there's a lot of theories that are not scientific. Theory of gravity, theory of the Loch Ness monster, look at all the conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying? All these fucking stories about JFK's assassination, all of these are just theories. They're not scientific theories, you know what I'm saying? So there is a difference. Scientific theories usually could be proven. Before the airplane was invented, there was a scientific theory to creating a machine that can fly in the air. Based on their understanding of physics, the fact that birds could fly, where do you think the idea of wings on an airplane came from? From understanding physics that, you need a larger surface area to become more buoyant so that the air can push up against you or vice versa, so you can push up against the air. It's just, pretty basic stuff. Yeah, the orientation one, oh my God. There has to be a way for me to simplify it, man. Like, there's no way people are not getting it that simple. Like, and I'm generalizing here because I still think most people will get it. Again, this is just one of the instances where they didn't. But God damn, it's a little frustrating that people don't get it. Oh yeah, there's book smart and common sense smart. Yep, this book smart and yours. Yep. Yeah, if you're book smart, you're just a follower. You know what I'm saying? Literally, if you're just book smart, you're just a follower. I still cannot believe. Oh my God, how long's it been? An hour and 30. Yeah, I know, it's like people, it's like the behavior of water is fucking simple to understand. But I guess even without the trick question, people think that it's a trick question. Like, it's crazy. Fuck. Even when I just did the A and B question in the beginning, people thought that was a trick question, because it's so obvious that the answer is A, right? So people are like, wait, this is too easy. Like, is this a trick question? So that's kind of one of the reasons why I started doing the trick question first, so we could get it out of the way, right? So that people don't think that the A and B question is a trick question, which kind of did help with that. But then the second question is like, damn it. I might have to change or take out the orientation one. We'll see. I know. I thought orientation was a good one. Like, I mean, everybody has a fucking phone, and you could put it in portrait or put it in landscape. You know, you can hold your phone in different orientations. People know this, you know, portrait and landscape and upside down. Like, these are basic stuff. I can't believe people are struggling this much. It's crazy, man. Yeah, I think they're scared to commit. That's true, Chillster. Again, I think the answer is so easy that they're overthinking it, just like the A and B question. You know, I mean, there's no other logical explanation that I could come to that why people are struggling so much. Maybe I'll use 2 next time, just the right side up and upside down, and yeah, I'm gonna try 2 next time and then see how that goes. Man, too daft to understand it. I mean, fuck. Like, I'm trying to like reason and simplify this, you know, as much as possible, but fuck, there's a limit too to how simple it could get. Like, when I was explaining the orientation that water always goes down and find this level, like, they were like, even when I first started, they were like struggling to agree with that fact that water always goes to the bottom. And like, even if you know, they were even struggling with that. That's when I knew that, yeah, they're not gonna get it. Like, even right from the beginning, I got that vibe. And it, you know, to be honest, the guy that was the religious guy that I told that I'll pray for him and he'll pray for me. By the way, that was fucking passive as fuck. From both of us. It was passive from both of us. I only did it to troll him, but he did get me though. When I said I'll pray for you, he's like, well, you don't have nothing to pray to. Well, you're right. I'll pray to the invisible God that you believe in for you. Whatever. That guy was actually, ironically, well, weirdly, the most logical, if anything. But at the end of the day, he believed the earth was a ball because of the Bible? What? Like, he seemed reasonable, you know, and everything in the beginning. I'm saying that the water's flat and it has to be that way, blah, 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 blah. But I believe the earth is a ball because of the Bible. What? Oh, man, like, I don't mean to, like, mock anybody or like, it's just, come on, man. It's just fucking funny. Like, there's no way. It's a... Oh my god. Fuck me. There we go. It's a group of dynamic to that distorts the reactions. Looking like a fool to yourself isn't as bad as being made an idiot out in front of your peers. Yeah. When things get religious, try to change the subject or show that flat earth Bible verses if you can. Yeah, I try to stay away from the Bible verses and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll mention the dome and how we need to be in a contained environment, because that's, you know, that's the way air pressure works. And then I'll mention how the Bible mentions it, you know. To be honest, you know, I shouldn't even be doing that, referencing the Bible for anything, in my opinion. Again, it's just text in a book. At the end of the day, if the stuff in that book, if the text in that book was real and tangible and physical, then we don't need the book, because it's physical, you know what I'm saying? It's real, you know. But the fact is that none of that actually exists in reality as a tangible. That's why it's just a story. And I guess that's why it requires faith, just like the globe. So if I'm trying to debunk the globe because it's based on faith, why am I going to use a Bible that's based on faith as well to debunk that? Like, that's just stupid, you know? Again, people could do and present this however they want, however you want, you know, it's fine. If you want to use Bible verses, if you want to use, you know, quotes from past flat earthers and stuff like that, or videos, you know, stuff like that, like videos that debunk NASA and stuff like that. If that's your go-to to prove that the earth is a level plane, go for it. But that's not going to be my go-to. My go-to is going to be natural science and what physics has to offer and my understanding of it. And my goal is to be able to explain what I understand to others. And if I'm wrong, I want you to explain to me how I'm wrong. And that's how we move forward, you know, not just by citing, you know, different things, random things, and hopefully they you know, it's about sticking to the facts, you know. And I hate to say it, the Bible is not fact. If you think the Bible is fact, you are so far behind. It's sad. Yeah, thanks beyond belief. I know when it's a group, it does become like a battle. When it's just one-on-one, it usually becomes more of a conversation, unless the person, you know, is very defensive. Like the last guy that just, like, he was a little bit defensive, but he was really cool though. He was really cool. I enjoyed the conversation. I actually enjoy conversations like that with people that want to defend the globe, right? But are respectful and actually at least understand where I'm coming from, at least my points, just like I understand where they're coming from. And that you know, even if we don't agree at the end of the conversation, it's good to hear someone else out, you know what I'm saying? Even though I already know what they're gonna say, you know, it's good to let them say it, so that then you can rebuttal and explain to them, you know, and respond to what they said, basically. Guys in there. Oh man, what's up? That's it. Yeah, stick around for like another 20 minutes. See if we can get one more. If not, I think that was good. It was a good conversation. I mean, it was like 4 of them. It was 2 guys that came first. And then once they knew what the subject was, then when there was a religious guy and then the last guy. Once you know, then the two guys that initially that started the conversation, they booked it as soon as they knew what the subject was about, and as soon as I directed my attention to the other guy, they just took off. That's kind of funny. But then the religious guy kind of caught me off guard, as in, like, I thought he was gonna be really open-minded. It is usually like that with religious people. I'm not gonna lie, I've had like 4 or 5 conversations with religious people, like hardcore religious people, and they all go the same way. The beginning of the conversation goes great. Like, I'm explaining, they seem open-minded, they agree, you know, with the facts, you know, that I show, you know. But then the conversation goes on, and like 5-10 minutes in, you know, the true colors come out, and the cult mentality, in my opinion, comes out, you know. And it's literally the same conversation, just with a different face. Every religious conversation that I have, it's the same conversation, and they all usually start off good, and then it just takes a turn, and it's like, oh my god. And in my head, it's like, oh, you're just trying to be friendly and cool, because I mean, usually these people try to like recruit others, right? They try to bring you into their cult, you know. Oh, here, come to church on Sundays, you know. Oh, here's the church that I go to, or blah 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 blah, or listen to this guy, listen to him all the time, like he's a great, you know, whatever. And yeah, it's just, again, people don't trust their own common sense, or rather just believe someone else. It's kind of sad, you know. But yeah. Yeah, to the stationary claim, there has to be, here's another thing. You would have to believe, because objects being pressed down, like by air pressure or electrostatics, it debunks itself. Again, helium wouldn't go up if objects were being pressed down. You know, it can't, you know, so something from above pressing down, again, we don't feel pressure above our heads pressing us down. We will feel a pressure above our head and below our feet. you know, if we were being pressed down, think about it. But we don't feel pressure from above. You know what I'm saying? All the pressure is beneath our feet, you know. So again, and if you believe that the air and the water like has something in it that creates orientation, then you would have to believe that the air and the water can push denser objects down and at the same time push lighter objects up. So you would have to believe that it's pushing up and down at the same time. Think about that. Think about that. You would literally have to believe that the air and water, there's something in it somehow that not only pushes the air itself down and up, you know, well, mostly down, I guess, or pushes itself, I don't know, but it can also push lighter objects up, and again in water as well. Like, so it's a magical force, an invisible force in all matter that supposedly pushes down and up. That's literally what you have to believe if the earth is stationary, you know, just literally, that's what you have to believe. And what do you have to back that up? What practical experiment can you show that air or something can push something in opposite directions at the same time? You know, without utilizing the motion of the earth or motion in general of a container. Because I'm telling you, if objects fall and rise within a contained environment through a medium, that means the container's in motion. Because objects don't accelerate down towards the container, and objects don't accelerate up to the roof of the container by themselves. So that effect of rising and falling within a contained environment through a medium, or rising and falling through a medium, within a contained environment, tells you that the container, the environment, the contained environment, the container is in motion. That's the only logical conclusion, especially since we could test and physically prove that objects don't accelerate down and don't have any effects of motion whatsoever when they're in free fall. So again, it's not a belief, you know, it's an understanding, you know. I mean, you could say that, I guess, most of that are not from science background. I mean, it depends what you mean by science background. Like, you mean like a scientific mind? They don't really have a scientific mind. And I would say a scientific mind is basically based on logic and reason, which has to do with common sense. So yeah, you could say most flat earthers don't use logic, reason, or common sense. So yeah, I would agree to that to an extent. You know, it depends what you mean by science background. You know, I would just say that that's like a scientific mindset, you know, of entering a subject saying that you don't know, but then testing and observing what we see and then coming to a conclusion based on that. You know, that's having a scientific mindset, if you ask me, you know, which is the opposite of a religious mindset. Yeah. Baseless claims, lack of indoctrination will help, I guess. We have a bendy water believer in? Really? Yeah, so gravity, a pulling force, is completely made up. It's derived from the phenomenon of objects appearing to fall. So to claim that the earth is stationary is no different than claiming that gravity pulls objects to the ground. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if you claim the earth is motionless definitively, like as an affirmed claim, you're no different than someone that claims gravity pulls objects towards the ground. It has to be a magical, invisible force that's causing it, you know. Or again, you just have to believe that this is a simulation, and you basically have to deny physics. If you go with that the earth is stationary, you have to deny physics. You have to be a physics denier, just like a globe earther. You know, a globe earther would deny physics until they, who knows for how long. Obviously that's a personal journey, but a globe earther will always deny physics, because they don't like reality. They don't like the facts, right? But now you have flat earthers in the same boat. They're denying physics, I mean, the demonstrations were there. If you just joined the live stream, you could rewind the video. I went through the steps of how we know objects are not accelerating down. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that the Earth is in motion and objects are decelerating, not accelerating. So I went through the demonstrations of each point of the curve of the Earth, the spin of the Earth, and the motion of the Earth, or the motionless claim of the Earth. And, went through them step by step and showed how we know this stuff, Forgetting this one doesn't have a straw. Fuck. Oh man. Let me see. Your channel is very inspiring. Thank you for spreading the truth. You overthought it, and you never know when you see it will grow, how fast it will. Anyway, you may keep going. Yeah. Right on, Yannick. All right. Yeah, for sure. So I think next time I'm only gonna show the right side up bottle and the upside down bottle. I'm only gonna do two, and I'm gonna say I took two different pictures of my water bottle with water in it. One right side up and one upside down. That's what I'm gonna say. So since we understand water always goes down, regardless if the bottle is upside down or right side up, water always shows us the direction of down, right? And then I'm gonna show those two and then be like, since we understand the fact, which one of these two is the one that I took upside down? And hopefully I think showing just the two and then telling them which one is the one that I took upside down, I think that is simplifying it. That way I don't have to use the word orientation, which, I thought at a university I'll be able to use it. you know, I wasn't gonna use the word orientation when I go out like downtown areas and just regular public areas, but I thought at a university I'll be able to use the word orientation, but I guess not. So I guess I'll have to simplify it even down to an elementary level. Like, I mean, I thought it was already elementary level, but but hopefully that works for the next one, you know. So looks like it might not be happening today. All right, so yeah, I'm actually gonna call it already. So I'm gonna start putting some stuff away. Fuck. Yeah, it looks pretty dead anyway, so. All right, just to see if there's anything. All right, nothing crazy. All right, well, thanks again for everybody that showed up and showed some support. Thanks to everyone that likes the videos. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but you know, it could help new people, you know, actually look into it more, you know. If a lot of people are swayed by likes nowadays, new people especially. So yeah, thanks a lot if you do like the video. Again, it doesn't really matter, but it does help, you know, at least reach more people at least. Yeah, we'll see when I go live again. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks again, man.